As soon as it goes red. There you go.
You are live.
Hey!
And we are the Nashvillains here for
guys.
happy hour. How you guys doing?
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers, Troy.
Cheers, Scotty.
Cheers, you guys.
How y'all doing? I think I say that every time. You are live.
You are live.
Because I'm reading that thing. I hope you guys are good. Again, we are the Nashvillains with Happy Hour Live. And
we've got some pretty amazing guests today.
we do have some amazing guests. I wanted to get some housekeeping out of the way.
Sure.
Be sure to check us out on YouTube and Facebook and what do we got? TikTok. We got all the social media, but we have our
YouTube.
single.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Yeah, hit that like button and hit that subscribe button.
And then watch our videos.
Watch our videos. Yeah, Tumbling Down is our latest
Lots
single.
of
So
videos.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have some amazing guests. I want to intro them a little bit. We've got both of them backstage. We have a bass player, and not too far behind, we have a drummer.
Not just a bass player.
Yeah. We have a bass player and a drummer.
Yeah.
And the bass player is Sean Hurley. He's played with John Mayer, Ringo Starr, Annie Lennox, Robin Thicke, Alanis Morissette, Vertical Horizon, and Colby Calais,
amongst others.
Yeah, and that's just a short list.
Yep.
And we also have Victor Indrizzo. Thank you, Brett. He's played with Scott Weiland, Chris Cornell, Queens of the Stone Age, Beck, Macy Gray, Daniel Lanois, Gwen Stefani, just to name a few.
Crow.
I mean, I could go on and on.
And they have both played for the Nashvillains.
And to add to that list, yes, we had them on 6 tracks of ours.
Yeah.
Brett's a good friend of theirs, and he made that happen. So we were happy to see them be on our
Mike
on our
and
stuff. So
Shannon
let's go ahead and
Ford
bring them in.
from the borough.
Yeah, and these guys are LA based. So we'll see how our connection is. Victor,
What's up?
what's up, buddy?
Nice.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
All right.
Get this right.
Let's do the one more. Let's do one over. Let's do that one right there.
Right.
Got my root beer going right
Is
here.
that too small?
Yeah,
That's too small.
Let's do that. Let's do that.
You got a
Let's
root
do
beer
that
going?
one. I like that one a lot.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I
No
got
worries.
iced coffee.
Take it away, Brett.
He's got a root beer going.
Who's got root beer? Victor's got root beer. Yeah. Cheers, buddy. I think Sean's video's frozen.
Uh-oh.
Hey.
That's terrible.
Yeah, his
Yeah,
video's
bro.
frozen.
Sean, you may want to jump off and jump back on. buddy.
Technical
I think it's-
difficulties.
Yeah, I think it's frozen.
Victor, how you doing, man? Good to see you.
I'm doing all right.
How's the
considering-
weather out there in Los Angeles?
Man, it's like summer out here.
Is it really?
Always, man.
Is it hot?
It's beautiful. It's a perfect day. It's like mid 70s, sun shining.
Yeah. That's how. Well, we got
Well,
some
it is
California weather right
Yeah.
now here in Nashville, so that's nice.
Yeah, surprisingly, it's pretty incredible weather right now.
Yeah,
it kind of feels
absolutely.
like LA right now. So, yeah. So, how you doing, man? How you doing with the lockdown and all the stuff going on?
I'm actually doing all right. You know, I've been able to set up a studio at my house and
Cool.
been recording a bunch and pretty excited. I just finished a Brian Setzer record. from
What?
home.
Nice.
No, I
really?
have to throw this out.
Uh-oh.
Oh, I know. I have to
Uh-oh.
an opportunity. No, I actually I did a Christmas tour with him.
Oh, it's cool.
Yeah, my old burlesque band, not old, but my burlesque band, Totsi, we opened for him on his Christmas tour. Man, what a great guitar player. What a great guy.
Yeah, I'm really excited.
He's
It's funny.
decent.
I haven't even met him. We literally have just been sending shit back and forth.
Yeah, I was
really?
going to ask you that.
Yeah.
So he sent you tracks and you put some stuff to it.
Cool.
Do you give him? Let me ask you this: do you give him several takes, or does you give him one and he's like, okay, well, then does he have any fixes for you?
No, I there was one fix on all. We did 11 songs, and there was only one thing he asked me to do out
Nice.
of all 11 tracks.
There's Sean.
Was it something? Hey, Sean, how you
Buddy.
doing? We're
There
in the
you are.
middle of one
Hey,
question
guys.
with Victor.
Hey, buddy.
I want to ask you, Victor, was it a fix or did he ask you to add something?
He asked me to add something. He asked me
Okay,
to
all
add a
right.
fill.
Yeah.
All right, because I was what my thought was is that people ask me to fix things all the time, and I was just thankful that they asked Victor to fix things too.
Although I'm kind of blown away because I thought that Brian was actually when Setzer records, I thought that a lot of it was like live. He does a lot of that.
It's kind of remarkable. Like they just sent me the record. It just got mastered, and it sounds live. It sounds really
cool.
It captures that spirit without you'd never know.
Man, one of my favorite guitar players.
Said anything. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
We're glad you did.
Sean, thank you for joining us, man. We really appreciate it. How you doing? You got a beverage?
I just got some delicious sparkling water right here, and
that works.
Fish and some iced coffee.
Perfect.
Great.
So both you guys, have you guys been out to Nashville? I'm sure you haven't very much in the past year.
It's been a bit. Yep, haven't been in a year for sure.
Yeah.
When was the last time you guys were here?
I went out once during this last year.
Yeah.
But that's it, just once.
I think before then I was out with you, Victor, when we were doing something for Matt Rollins, maybe. Maybe that was a year and a half ago.
Maybe when you guys were here playing on our album.
Well, I think it was. I do think it was.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I have to say that turned out great. I mean, what you guys did was
were amazing sessions. I remember Victor had one of his drum cases out.
Playing the top of it?
Playing top of it. I got a picture of you doing it. Yeah.
That's so cool. Yeah.
Yes.
Just because you like the texture of it.
Yeah, I like it, man. Any day out there is good. And wasn't Bukovac on that too?
Yeah,
man.
Yeah, I think Bukovac's been on every song.
It was Ilya. Ilya's in the other room right now, actually. Ilya Chashinsky and Tom Bukovac. And I can't remember who played keys. Do you remember?
The Tim McGraw guy.
Yeah, I don't remember
his name.
Who played keys. We're going to get in trouble if we go down this rabbit hole too far.
I think it was Alex.
Cool. So, Sean, I noticed that I'm sure this has been around a while, but you have your own signature bass.
I sure do. Yeah, it's been about 7 or 8 years now since it came out, and it's still every year they do a few. It's a custom shop bass, so there aren't thousands of them out there. But
that's awesome.
We got a little niche following, and I love it. I really play it all the time. It's such an honor too. Real thrill to have Fender and be part of that family and have him make a bass that was designed after what I play.
What did you guys base the design off? A P bass?
I have a P bass that's a 61, and I was playing it all the time with Mayer. And at the time, I knew the head of the custom shop, and he's like, "Let me bring you in, and we'll do a signature model." And I didn't realize he meant one production that they would sell to anybody.
Oh, really?
The website. Yeah, I thought it was just going to be for personal use. I'll have a backup on the road or something.
No. This is what we're going to sell this to the general public.
It's crazy. So I got guys in France and Brazil and all these countries that we'll talk and like, "Yeah, I got your bass. I love it. It sounds great." And to be a part of that and be able to communicate with guys, that's the coolest thing in the world.
Yeah.
So how do they? I've always wondered what is different about the Sean Hurley version as opposed to the general. I mean, how do they make it specific to you?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
it comes with sparkling water and
a little bit of my blood gets put into
a little finger prick on every one of them.
Yeah. Exactly. Ouch. But there are many P basses, so I wanted to go, hey, if you're going to do it, can you put a muting thing in there? Can you use the strings I like? So at least it's set up the way I would play it, which is not the same, every bass you go in. But the thing that's unique about mine is it's got a Jaguar guitar mute on it that you can flip up, and the foam will mute the strings by the bridge, and you can flip it off. No other bass has that.
That is cool. Yeah, that's very cool.
It's really cool. So it's a little different, but there are many P basses out there, and depending on your price point, you may come across several before you get to mine. But on your way there, it's really cool. And I think the biggest thing with a signature, whether it's mine or someone else's, is you kind of get it filtered through their taste with how hot they like the pickups, the way they like the strings. And I had a particular brand and a gauge, and that stuff surprisingly makes a big difference.
What is that, by the way?
They're labella flat wounds, and the tension on them is just right. They're the particular gauge. When I put them on all my basses, they feel like mine. So it's a quick way to get it already halfway set up before you even start adjusting the neck.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Victor, I didn't notice. Do you have any signature drums out there?
Endorsements and
I mean,
you've probably been endorsed by tons of.
He's got drumsticks with his name on it.
I got drumsticks.
That's awesome. So what brand of drums do you play?
I play Gretsch.
Gretsch.
Cool.
Yep. Love the
Gretsch. That's one of my favorite.
Well, that works with the
brands
Brian
for sure.
Setzer stuff too. You just did, right?
Yeah.
So how many sets do you have, Vic?
I got a lot of drum sets.
I love those answers.
I'm not quite sure, to tell you the truth.
I was about to say, you may not even be sure how. Where do you store them? Do you have a cartage company?
Yeah, I got a cartage company that keeps one set of stuff, all my recording stuff, and then I have almost identical stuff at home, so that it's all there.
Right. And do you have drums in the attic and in a storage place? Do you have drum? I mean, there's probably places you have drums that you can't even remember where they are.
I was going to say, do you have drums that you don't play at all?
Yeah. I mean, I do try and play them. There are some that sit for a while, and that's the fun thing. Maybe on a record, I'll go through, when they bring all my stuff, I'll go through the cases and pull out something I haven't used maybe in 10 years or something.
Yeah.
You know? I have a question for you.
See, I've got guitars that I haven't touched in years. My wife's always like, "Why don't you just sell those?" I'm like, "I can't. I may need it at some point. If I want a certain sound."
Yeah.
You know.
Hey, Victor, have you done any like loop CDs or anything like that, or samples, or?
Yeah, Sean and I both have just done these sample packs for this company, Yurt Rock.
Cool. I saw that online.
Came out. Yeah, that was pretty fun to do.
Very cool.
Yeah, looks like we got. Do we have a question, or do we have? What do we got?
My buddy has the '57 Chevy black and white model Gretsch drum set. He means.
Whoa!
Gretsch.
All right.
Yeah.
What do you think of that, Vic? What do you think of that, Victor?
I'd like.
He would like to buy it.
Hey, how long have you guys been playing together? You guys come as a package deal? I mean, I know we don't normally.
Yeah, but it's 2 for 1 for us.
Is it?
Especially with the current climate. Yeah, you get one of us, whether you want it or not. I can go up on the session. If is there and vice versa.
Right. Yeah. Well, you can't mute it if it ain't there, man.
Exactly.
I think we first recorded, maybe it was like 2004, 2005.
What project was that?
About right.
I don't remember. It was I can't remember exactly. Maybe it was a Tony Mamet record. It was like a kind of.
That was when we were in the same room together.
Yeah,
but remember
we had played
the first record we ever played
Paul
on.
Stanley. Yeah, we played on a Paul Stanley set.
Oh, no way.
But when I got to play with Sean the first time, it really blew my mind. And I was like, I don't want to play or need to play with anybody else.
We linked up.
I think every drummer
feels it was love at first note, right?
Yeah, it was love by the downbeat.
Yeah, there's something very special about Sean, and there's a bazillion great bass players, but the thing that makes him super special is not only his tone, his musicianship, but the way he can sit right behind you on a track just makes the drummer sound better. So I'm pretty sure anybody that ever plays with him falls in love.
Well, there's definitely a feel you guys have, and that's why I love having you guys on our tracks. I mean, I've obviously used you guys for a long time in LA and out here and stuff like that. And I mean, there's definitely a thing, and that there's a pocket, a groove, a feel, a thing that's just. I don't know.
I've found what happens is if the bass player can be, just like Victor said, slightly behind the kick drum, it provides natural compression. It just sounds compressed. And so, Sean, did you instinctively develop that, or did you intellectually know that and then try to develop that?
I think it's a combo of your natural playing style coupled with the couple choice comments that I would have gotten through the years as I was learning how to record. And at first, like you guys when we first all started recording, maybe it was a 4-track or whatever, you couldn't see it. So it was just based on what it sounded like, what your friends would go, hey, let's slow down or we're rushing. And then by the time we could look at it on a computer, I started to believe what Victor was telling me, like, oh yeah, when it feels right, let me take a look at it. And that's when I realized, oh, it is a little behind. And I had been coached a little bit in the early recordings, like lay it back, make it feel like this.
Right.
When I came to LA, guys wanted it just ever so slightly laid back. And so by getting, it's like positive rewards. If someone says it sounds good, you go, all right, let me try to do more of that. And then meeting a drummer like Victor who just lays it down and I can just slot in without any effort. It starts when you can follow your instincts and not have to second guess yourself, then you're golden.
I have one more technical question about that. Is that one of the reasons you use flat wound strings?
I don't think,
I mean, because a flat wound is not as bright as the other. So,
but I end up recording probably more round wounds. I just prefer if someone said you get one bass and come on and do your thing.
All right.
I love the sound of flats, but I'll just try to diagnose if a song has a lot of things on it and I need those rounds to cut. But it's a slight feel difference, but I wouldn't think it puts me anywhere differently on the beat. We might have to go for a deep dive to find out, but feels the same to me.
It's a peak. It's a frequency that the engineer doesn't have to cut out.
Yeah, I started doing it live because I knew a random house sound guy couldn't mess it up or couldn't make my bass sound real brittle and bright. If I only gave him the mud zone, it was gonna stay muddy and thick and righteous.
So Victor, when you're playing drums, do you? I know that one technique that drummers have is laying back the 2 and 4. Is that something that you do, or you just grit it up?
No, I think it's funny. I don't ever think about it, to tell you the truth. I just play it, but I think that I do have a tendency just to be right a little bit behind, as opposed to being on top, or like it depends if you're playing on a pop record and there's a lot of programming, then you're aiming for being right on the grid. Yeah. But for most things, it's probably just a hair back, and it's just for me, music is not about I don't think about it. It's just all feeling.
Yeah,
all feeling. Well, and that was the thing I loved about Sean too, is that. We've probably played on hundreds of records together now, and I don't recall any time we ever really had to discuss what we were going to play. We just intuitively knew. Yeah. It's just like
so you're more inspired in the moment, right? So that's
You do a take or two, and it's like, oh, that feels good. And if there's anything that needed adjustment, we just go, all right, it's self-policing. We'd come to the same conclusion. But Victor has a special swing setting that even when he plays straight is there. So I don't know how he developed it, but it's there. If you listen, I've never heard a track and had to wonder if it was Victor, even if it's something I hadn't done. Like, I can tell a mile away. Just a little bit special, little bit of swing, even when it's
life.
Yeah, right, exactly. It's buoyant with life.
Buoyant with life. So let's talk about like who are your influences as far as drummers and Sean bass players. I'm sure there's like James Jamerson and people like that, but like what about you, Victor? Like what about both you guys for influences?
Early on it was definitely Ringo, and I think that's probably where a lot of that swing comes from. Yeah, and then Stevie Wonder. I love his drumming. It's so musical, and it just. That to me, that's what I'm trying to do is think about a song.
But didn't he record his drum parts separately? Like he recorded hi-hat and then he recorded kick and snare, and probably early on when he was learning the instrument. Yeah.
He's a great drummer. It's just musical, and it's always about the song. It's not about, hey, what can I do in here to show off? It's like it's just about the music.
Well, Lenny Kravitz does that too, doesn't he? He followed Steve. I mean, he's a I don't know if you know, but if you know him, but he did, his first record, he did a lot of the drums on that.
Yeah. There's something, if you're writing the song, you're really inside of it. And you can,
and even though it's rudimentary, it has some rawness and power to it.
Yeah, for sure.
If the feel is right, you don't have to add other things to make it interesting. And I think that's what Victor excelled at. And I try to hitch along on that is, I love guys that can play like a zillion notes and they have no walls in their playing. But when you walk into a room and someone's about to sing, you're like, well, I don't want to compete with this guy. So I've always liked the simple bass players to emulate. You know, my first love was AC/DC, and that's some hard pumping eighth notes. That was like, I felt like if I could do that, I would be beloved by most every band. And then try to get better from there and increase and maybe study everything under the sun. But at the core, you know, it's like I play the bass like a tuba player. Just keep it simple.
Right. Do you play a 4-string or a 5-string?
That's kind of a Paul McCartney sort of thing too, right? Sort of like a
totally,
tuba
approach. When you listen to music, if the bass is just adding to it as opposed to taking your, you know, eyes to it, like, oh, if it attracts attention, that was not quite what I was after. So, and I think, I know Victor and I have talked about it for drumming. He was the same. Which you go with the Beatles, and that's the core of 4 guys playing their instruments the way nature intended them.
Yeah. What about your influences, Sean?
It started, again, I was air basing to AC/DC. So learning, you know, that probably Highway to Hell and Back in Black were my first 2 things. And then, you know, I started playing when I was in 5th grade. So I was very dumb and my taste wasn't so good. But it was 1985 as well. So
AC/DC's good taste, man.
That's good
music.
taste.
Yeah,
I'm avoiding all the
stuff. All groove.
Right. The rest of the 80s, right.
Exactly.
I'm a product of the 80s too. There was there was good stuff in the 80s, but you know, that's what they call them, guilty pleasures.
Yeah,
exactly. It's, you know, I went to see Rat in concert. I saw Rat Poison, which is a classic pairing.
Yeah.
I saw that same tour.
It was so good. But
I was very young.
Yeah, I was young. You know, we all had lighters, things you can't do anymore, man.
Yeah. No, not at all.
We were living dangerously.
Hey, Victor, I want to ask you about your setup. You said you record at home. Can you go through your setup for us? Because I want to hear what mics you use and everything.
Yeah, I got some good mics. I wonder if I could flip. I don't think I can flip this around right now. But yeah, I was pretty lucky just over the years. I've had studios for like the last 15 years. And Sean and I have had 2 places together. And through that time, just buying microphones, I have probably like a best microphone. I have like a FET 47 for the outside kick, a Coles. I got some Soyuz FET mics that I'm using as overheads that I love. And the great thing about drums is you don't really need a lot of expensive mics. Like I have some 421s for the toms.
You have a Radio Shack?
Yeah, you can, I'm telling you, you can do it. You really, man, I was just listening to the first Spinners record. And the toms on this thing sound amazing, and they're all 57s is what they used.
Yeah,
it's about just getting a good tone out of your drum, and like, you know.
Yeah, it definitely starts with the source for sure.
Yeah, it starts with the source, and then luckily, like, drum mics just aren't really that expensive. You know, I do have a nice old D12 that I'll use on the kick, but I've also been experimenting with this. You can buy a D12 for like $100 on Reverb or something, you know?
Yeah.
It doesn't take that much. What takes longer is like figuring out how to get the right sound or EQing something. That's
absolutely.
And getting shit in phase and all of those things.
Yeah. Phasing issue is a big deal.
Something like it's a tedious ordeal for somebody like
What about your outboard gear? What do you go into for your outboard gear?
Well, it's funny, like right now I'm really using a lot of the Universal Audio stuff. I got
that's amazing stuff, isn't it?
Man, it's blowing my mind because
really
I remember I used to have lunch boxes of API pre's and all this stuff, and I spent so much money on that stuff. And I just can't believe like how good the plugins are now. Really, like,
so you're telling me that you're just going direct into the DAW
no, I mean, not 100%. I also am pretty fortunate that I have like some good outboard gear too. You know, I've got like some good compressors and some good EQs and stuff like that. But I would say mostly I am using a lot of plugins too as well.
Yeah,
it's
great.
It blows my mind because they were not that good even like, you know, even 5 or 6 years ago. I don't think you could track into them like you can now.
Right. Sean, what do you bring to a session?
For the most part, it's a bunch of basses depending on the flavor that kind of hit me to in advance. And then my Noble DI and a tuner. I got a little quick, easy setup. I'll bring a drive pedal or two. If they want an amp, or if there's room for an amp, I always bring my B15 that I've got mid-60s.
And that's an Ampeg?
Yep, an Ampeg B15. I'll sometimes swap out for a smaller cab just to make it easy. Because the bass amp tends to be the little redheaded stepchild of the recording process. They'll shove it in the bathroom or a closet. Right. So the smaller the better, and also for recording, it sounds great at a low volume with the B15.
Yeah. A lot of the guys around here bring their own preamp, like a little tube preamp. Do you have one of those?
I've totally heard that. Yeah, I tried doing that back in LA. God, it was probably like 2004 or 5. And I remember a couple of guys were like, "Don't do that, man." They're kind of shaming me. And then I realized I was on the cutting edge. But I think the way guys want to have the signal they want to hear from me or me to send to them, they want to plug it into the pre and they want to mess with it, as opposed to having me, have a Neve and an LA2A on my end and send them a line level. So I gave it up. And, there's a lot of things Nashville has that we don't have and we're jealous of. And another thing is the talkback mic that you can just step on. In LA,
you guys don't do that?
No, no.
How do you talk? How do you talk to the control room?
It seems so standard.
It's so frustrating because then.
Oh my gosh, you're kidding!
Oh yeah, we need to have an intervention. In LA.
Well, there's a big difference though, because when you guys do sessions there, do you? I mean, okay, let me just break it down. I'm sure you guys know, but for our audience, when we have Nashville sessions, like demo sessions, all right, you have a 10, a 2, and a 6, and you'll get in the 10 o'clock hour, you'll get 5 or 6 songs. In the 2 o'clock hour, you'll get 5 or 6 songs. In the 6 o'clock hour, you'll get 8 songs. I mean, do you guys did you guys do that? I mean, where you spend like only 20 minutes a song?
No, not really. Never.
Yeah, how is that? How does that work?
I have to say that's one of the things I love working with you guys, especially when I come to LA, is we actually sit there and work out the parts, and you guys will run through something multiple times.
Talk about it, change something, try options for you.
Yeah.
It's not.
And so when you guys come to Nashville and do Nashville-based sessions like that, what is your take on that?
I love it.
It's kind of exciting because of the difference.
Yeah. Yeah. It is exciting, and that thing of like trying to get stuff on the first take or just knocking it out and just keeps you really on your toes. And I love that. But it is different in LA, and I think just historically, because a lot of records here were like they were experimenting more, trying to find sounds or do weirder stuff. Yeah. So I even remember the days where you'd work on an album for a year. Like the Scott Weiland record I did, we worked on for a year. But there is something great. Like now the movie sessions here will be really fast and you'll knock out a bunch of stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You just walk in, read the chart, and barely a second take unless they want to have some other option.
Yeah, and
I
pretty
saw that.
scary.
I actually didn't know you'd played on so much movie stuff, Victor. That's awesome.
Those sessions are they're pretty scary too, because it's a lot of the times it's all written out for you, where you're playing some kind of groove that's maybe not even be natural to you, and you've got to figure it out and look at the charts and
So, as far as your chart goes, you guys still use numbers, right?
I never do, unless I'm in Nashville. I do. Yeah. We use notes and 4-bar. It's like I'll often get very scripted with what I write for myself. Oh yeah, like reading an orchestral thing or something. Like you could.
I know we have the Nashville number system, but I thought that there was only a subtle difference between that and what you guys do out there. So you guys don't do the number system at all.
If somebody is versed in it, they're coming in, then we'll do it and it'll be a hoot, but never. Like I often make a chart and then the piano player or guitar player will go, "Hey, can I grab a copy of that?" And mine is G major 7, E minor. I'm writing it out like it's a real book or something you'd see in school.
Yeah. And I loved going to Nashville and seeing those number charts because they were a lot like I make these real caveman kind of charts.
Yeah.
And it looked, as soon as I saw them, I was like, man, I get this.
Yeah, that looks like us.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny. There's a in our facility here in one of the bathrooms. There's a framed chart for one of the hits that
recorded.
Yeah, one of the hits that was on the radio several years ago, and literally the chart is 1-4-1-4-1-4-1-4. Literally the entire thing is 14, 14, 14, 14, 14, 14. And I love how the guys around here talk. You know, when the session guys talk to the other guys, they're going, "Yeah, that's a 2452 right there," and then we got 1568, or not 8, but it's so fun to hear these guys.
The shorthand you start talking about these 4-bar chunks of numbers, and like I gotta keep up. I gotta keep on my toes when I'm there, because it's not like it's a foreign language to me to try to keep up.
Yeah.
with it all.
I'm sure you guys have shorthand too, but one of the best ones I ever heard was actually from Ilya. I was in a session with him, and he said, "Hey, take me to the. I want to do something in the tros." And I was thinking, what? He's talking. Oh, so he wants to do the same lick in the intro and the turnaround and the outro. So he said he shortened what's already short.
Everything's about saving time.
Oh my gosh! I'm like, dude, how quick do you have to be?
Time is money in a session.
Yeah, I want to do this in the tros.
I can't even complete the words.
Okay, geez. Do you guys have any like shorthand like that you can share? But that comes to mind.
Really. We joke about stuff.
Yeah, well, we're getting 5 songs in 3 hours, so you got to save time somewhere.
Yeah.
We got to stretch it out to try to make some decent money. The cost of living here is a little high.
Yeah, right.
We got to slow it down.
That's great.
That's why you play behind the beat, right?
That's
a whole other reason to play behind the beat, Sean.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Hey, Sean, I was going to ask you. I didn't actually know that you were a writer as well, and you've actually written a lot of stuff. There was a hit that Robin Thicke did that you actually had.
Yeah, I first came to LA and I was up for anything, and I had a lot more time on my hands because I didn't have a career really popping off. So I would do whatever, there was a lot more time spent hanging out with the guys. So Robin was one of the first guys I ever worked with. So we would write tons of stuff, and a lot of it would never come out, but just by sheer numbers, I was just writing with a lot of people because it was a way to meet them. It was a way to get to play bass on a track. It was a way to just get involved with other groups. And some of the hip hop guys or R&B guys I met through Robin, I'd go and write with them. As I got better into the session world, I've done less and less of it. But I always enjoyed trying to come up with stuff. I play enough guitar and keyboard to fumble through stuff, and I'm still very curious of how do you take the simplest chord progressions and make them interesting, or when you're with a great singer, I find it inspiring. So I was always up for it, and especially if somebody wanted to start with something bass wise, it was always fun to try to play something that inspired an artist and then start building it up from there. I've had some good luck, because there was a time where I didn't write many songs, but they would chart and they would make money. So I was like, wow, this is a pretty cool side hustle.
Awesome.
Yeah. Victor, I noticed you're a multi-instrumentalist as well. On that Scott Weiland record, you played the guitar and other things as well.
Yeah, it's funny. The funny thing about that is I'll still play it more now this last year. But the thing was, I think I was too young to know any better. And I just would play, and then all of a sudden when I started playing, when I started doing more sessions, and you'd be on a session with a great guitar player or something, go, oh man, I don't play guitar. Or you play with a great piano player, like, oh man, maybe I don't do that. Yeah, it's like
I'm talking about that 12-bar blues Scott Weiland record. So it's based on the credit there, you were pretty involved in that record.
It was really like the two of us. I played piano on that record. I played guitar,
one of the credits
stuff,
one of of the credits is hi-hat.
I love that.
It's its own unique instrument.
Yeah. So I think one of the most famous hi-hat parts. Can you tell me what that is? There's a famous song that I mean, it is one of the most recognizable hi-hat parts. Do you know what I'm talking about at all?
No, I haven't the slightest clue.
Okay, it's Peter Gabriel or Red Rain.
Oh,
you know Red Rain?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and the hi-hat part was played by Phil Collins.
Yeah, it's
only the hi-hat.
Only the hi-hat. That was it.
That's all he played.
That was it.
Wow.
Yeah, and I think everything else was programmed, and they had
yeah. Serious? Oh,
That's kind of common with program stuff. Is
I mean, it was back in the mid to late '80s, so I mean that was understandable, but I mean that I can hear the hi-hat part in my head right now.
Nailed it.
When I saw that on your page, it reminded me of that. Yeah, you played hi-hat. That's great.
Hey, Sean, I'd love to hear about Vertical Horizon, John Mayer, and kind of getting into those groups and playing with those guys. How that happened?
So would I. What do you know about it?
Well, from what I read,
I'm kidding. So they're separated by almost a decade, but the first band I joined in that had a record deal and a manager and everything was Vertical Horizon, which I feel like that's what launched me into a real career other than just playing bars and clubs and, micro sessions in Boston. That's what got me, from Boston to LA. But the guys were just it was very old school, looking for a bass player. Classic thing. It was like the bass player was always dropping out of the band. So they were just desperate for someone to just keep it simple.
Consistency.
Yeah, right. Just be a good guy and play well. And so I did an audition outside of Boston where the singer was from. Mom's basement. It was very not glamorous. It was like every other audition in high school. But I was, 24 and they liked me. So we became great friends. We recorded at Bearsville. It was the first time I really worked with a producer, all this stuff. It was very exciting. It was 98. We recorded a record, had a hit in 99. So it was kind of a taste of all the good stuff. And, we started in a van, then worked our way up to a bus and, kind of got to see the wheels of the music business spinning in the late 90s, which was good. Yeah. And then the follow-up stuff, what was never quite as well received or as successful as that first record, Everything You Want in 2000. So, through that though, I learned how to behave in a band, how to behave in the business, met other people, and within some of John Mayer actually came to one of the shows where we opened up for the Dave Matthews Band in Atlanta in like 99. And our A&R guy was looking to sign John, so he brought him to the show. So when I met John in like 2004, we talked about the fact that he had been at the show, and we both knew the A&R guy and had somebody in common. And then he asked me, because he would sit in, I'd record a little bit with him as he passed through town. But he ended up hitting me up in 2008 to join the band and go on tour. And ever since then, I've played on a couple records, done some tours. It was just that slow march of, knowing this person, then knowing that person. And before you know it, somebody calls you up and says, hey, do you want to? And John called me, personally. So it was nice not to have to audition or, have to learn anything or just be like put on display. But like we had met very organically.
Yeah.
He would sit in and, it was very LA. It was a classic thing of just being in the right place and being in the community.
Cool. That's awesome.
Well, Victor, tell me about your background. You're from New York, right?
Yeah, but I moved to LA when I was like 10.
10?
So,
oh, wow.
Yeah, I've been out here forever. And I really love it here.
So what? So your parents?
Did you take your parents with you?
Yeah, did you take your parents with you?
Yeah.
I knew there was a joke in there somewhere. I just couldn't find it.
But I was actually pretty excited to move here because even as a kid, I would read album covers, and I saw that so many of the records I loved were recorded here. And the first thing I did when I got here is I got the Yellow Pages. You guys probably remember that.
Oh,
and
sure.
I looked up Capitol Records and I called them up and I asked the woman, I asked her how much it was to make an album. And she was laughing because she could tell I was a kid. And she just goes, it's a lot of money, honey. I go, well, then how much to make a 45?
Yeah, right. That can't be as much.
Come on. How difficult is it? Come on.
Oh, that is funny.
So I was pretty excited. I'm always still excited to go to all of these places. There's so much history, just like there is there. But I just have such a reverence for all of it.
Well, how have you ended up on so many records? And let's say like even the Chris Cornell record was one of my favorite Chris Cornell records. Is it Euphoria Morning? Is that what? Yeah, Euphoria Morning. And then Sheryl Crow and all the other stuff that you've done.
It was a very slow build, really. It's like, get in a band, make a record, and the first record I made, I just remember really not wanting to be replaced because I knew that was a thing in LA, that the producer would come in and if the drummer couldn't play the click track, you were gone. So I made damn sure that I was not going to get replaced. And so I slept with a metronome. I was like, I am going to get this stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And then, it's just one thing to another. And I think it's funny that Chris Cornell was because of the Willie Nelson record I had done with awesome. Daniel Lanois. He'd heard that record. Yeah. And he was a fan of that record and asked if I wanted to come and play. And, it's funny, like at that time in the 90s, we were like the same age. So I wasn't as impressed as I probably would have been now or after the fact, but like being in the room with him, he was tracking and he was singing and he's looking right at me and he's like singing and that voice came out. And I just remember like, oh my God, he's legit. Like he is the shit. He's a special guy.
Yeah. Man, one of the best rock voices I've ever heard.
And just a nice guy. I'd run into him a bunch through the years and just was a good guy.
When did you get your first drum set? Did you play drums before you moved?
Yeah, I would always have toy drum sets or shitty stuff. Like I grew up pretty poor, actually. Like a single mom, welfare mom, no lessons.
Wow.
Just getting banging on trash cans. And I think when I was in 6th grade, I got something kind of resembling a drum set.
Yeah.
Wow.
I just was.
Good for you, Mom.
I was obsessed. That's all I ever wanted to do. I can remember being 5 years old and like, I want to play drums. That's it.
What did your mom think about that? Did she's like, you want to play the loudest instrument you could possibly choose?
Yeah, nobody was real happy about that.
Yeah, nobody's really happy
especially my brothers. Like there was like 3 of us in one room, right? And so I really did go to sleep with a metronome. And man, my brothers, they all have fucking great time.
Yeah, that's funny. That's funny.
They don't play music, but they have a great time.
That's great.
Yeah, they put up with a lot for sure.
So are you the only person in your family that pursued music then?
Yeah. I don't know what it was. It just...
Sean, is your family musical?
Nope, not at all. We barely had a record collection.
Oh, really?
It was pretty bleak. Yeah, I don't know where it came from, but a neighborhood friend when I was 11, he was like, hey, you should play the bass because nobody else does. Come on up and watch the band.
That's what I'm telling my son.
I'm
trying to tell him to play bass because nobody else does.
How hard could it be?
Yeah.
It's only 4, sometimes
one note per time.
It's easiest
one note at a time.
In rock and roll. Yeah. I wasn't a lazy guy, but it just seemed, I think because he told me to play the bass, it's like, great. And what does a bass player do? And he showed me his bass player and I took lessons and I was, so young and it hurt. You did get blisters and stuff.
Yeah.
But by the time I was in middle school, it just was, I had learned how to do it. So the bug really hit me. And then all through high school, I was like long hair.
Yeah.
Victor and I looked a lot alike, even though we didn't know each other. I looked at the pictures. We had some beautiful curls.
Yeah.
Were you in jazz band and stuff like that?
Oh, yeah. Because I just wanted every opportunity to play. And in school, the coolest you could get was jazz band. So I went right for it. There was one local music store. I would take lessons. Then I ended up giving lessons. I would hang out there, got a job there.
Yeah.
Started playing the local bars and, roadhouses that would let kids play, which was, every like maybe once a month you'd get to do a kid show. Then we do dances and stuff. But I was all about it. And because I got to do jazz band in school, I would read charts and do it. It's all the stuff that we do now.
Yeah.
Victor and I are talking about a film score or something for a composer. It's stuff I was doing when I was 14 or 15, which is kind of cool to be able to speak that language and not struggle with it.
Yeah.
Well, what's coming up that you guys are doing? You can tell us about. It's like your upcoming projects and things you're working on that you can share.
Besides tour dates with the Nashvillains.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, right. Are we doing a tour of Mars or anywhere? Where's the safest place?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, hopefully. They're telling us. I tour with Alanis Morissette, and they're telling us we're heading out.
Nice.
Our first dates in July, end of July. I hope it's
That's
true.
what I'm hearing. July is what everybody's looking at.
So
that's great.
Wow.
I hope so.
Yeah,
I hope so.
It's
Well,
time.
I got my second shot today. I got the Pfizer shot, and I got the second one today, so I'm excited.
I go next week. Yeah.
I'm feeling fine.
But you felt kind of bad the first time, right?
Yeah, the first time was a little. Well, I hear the second one's worse. So I mean, talk to me tomorrow. But so far so good.
Nice.
Maybe it's the beer.
Could be. I'm not sure you should be drinking that. Actually.
Yeah, maybe I'm drinking.
Maintain. I'm getting mine a week after you, Vic. I think because I'm getting not the week we're working next week, but the week after. I'm getting my second one.
Well,
ideally, all things will be opening up for us to play, but I've got nothing other than, I know when I'm recording in the next couple of weeks, but other than that, I don't have any tours on the horizon.
Cool. Well, we'd love to have you guys come out and play on some more Nashville stuff and other stuff we're working on. It'd be great. Yeah.
That would be fantastic.
Yeah.
Victor and I, like I said, if you get one of us, then the other guy just shows
It's a package deal.
I love that, man.
It's a package deal.
As drummers and bass players, we're a lot of times locked, which is great. So
guys, thank you so much for doing this with us. We really appreciate it. You guys have been a pleasure, and we'd like to do this again sometime when you guys have some time.
Oh, we'd love to. Great to hang with you. I don't see Victor as much, so this is, we've been sequestered in our home.
Yeah.
So this was just a great chance for us to hang.
Well, I'm glad we could facilitate that.
Yeah, that's
thank
great.
you for facilitating.
And continue your love story.
Yeah.
Glad part of it.
Hey, you guys leave us alone. Yeah.
Go get a room. Sure. All right, you guys take it easy.
Thank you, guys.
See you guys.
Have a good one.
Have a good one.
See you.
All right. Well, that's it. There's another episode in the can. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We're the Nashvillains with Happy Hour, and we had Sean Hurley and Victor Indrizzo on the show, and you can see this again on Facebook. I think it'll be on YouTube. So make sure you go to Nashvillains Band on YouTube and subscribe and hit the remind button, all that good stuff. You know what you're doing.
Nashvillainsband.com.
Nashvillainsband.com.
And that's our website.
It's our website.
Yeah, Nashvillainsband.com.
Definitely subscribe to YouTube, like you said, and Facebook and everything else.
Yeah.
All the stuff.
See you
Thanks, guys.
Have a good one.